Hello and welcome to Wisdom for Wannabes, the podcast that seeks wise words in business, beauty, and betterment. I am the host, Jackie Morreale. Today's guest is the incredibly multi-talented Angela Page. Welcome to the show, Angela.
Thank you, Jackie. A wisdom
Absolutely.
wannabe. We're all wisdom.
Yes. We are all wisdom wannabes. Exactly. I have so much to learn from you. Angela Page is an award-winning author, screenwriter, producer, and former corporate executive whose career spans global business, storytelling, film, and advocacy. My goodness, Angela, you just check every one of those wisdom for wannabes boxes. I really can't wait to learn more from you. Angela is a graduate of NYU Stern and the London School of Economics. She has worked with companies like Microsoft and Honeywell, built an impressive creative career writing novels, producing films, and telling stories that explore identity, reinvention, family, culture, resilience, and what it truly means to evolve as a person. And just to drop a couple of names, recent films by Angela Page includes Harij Wez Sajili, which is currently on the film festival circuit. Her most recent novel is Enrico G, which is inspired by her own great-grandfather's story. So Angela Page, one more time, welcome to Wisdom for Wannabes.
Thank you, Jackie. This is fabulous. You're fabulous.
You're fabulous. So let's get right into the questions.
Sure. Go for it.
Can you tell us your full name, where you're from, where you live now, and what you do?
I was born Angela Page Conti, which is the name I'm using on Enrico G because it's Italian. To get the cred, I put original birth name on there. Page is a short version of my grandmother's maiden name. She was from Barcelona. It's Catalan for pages, which means farmer in English. They decided to honor my grandmother's maiden name and give me a weird version of her name.
How beautiful. Sounds like you are honoring both sides of your family.
I'm kind of halfway to Liz Taylor. I've been married several times. I changed my name once when my son was born, so we wouldn't have issues at school. So I actually have a Danish last name attached to the Conti Molgaard, which is pronounced in Danish, is pronounced Mulgård, which took me 6 months of Danish lessons to learn.
Worth every moment, by the way.
But I have been temporarily other last names. I said halfway to Liz Taylor. So 4 of the 8 husbands that she had.
Your full name then, Angela Page Conti
Right.
Mulgård.
Right.
Beautiful name. Where are you from originally? You said your grandmother's from Barcelona, your great-grandfather's from Italy.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm a Jersey girl, grew up in New Jersey, and then went to NYU for college. I left early on in my early 20s with husband number one. We went to Hong Kong for a couple of years. He was a journalist with Institutional Investor, which still exists. We're still friends. He's the only husband still alive. In the first page of Enrico G, he has a review, an endorsement in my book.
I like that.
Because he wrote the Calvi affair, which is about the dead Vatican banker. He's well known in Italian circles because he wrote this book called the Calvi affair, and he speaks fluent Italian. Very good with the book as well. He liked it. After that, we were then sent to London. Then I switched husbands in London. I married a Dane, Mr. Molgaard, who had 10-year-old triplets. We had a son together. There's a 15-year difference between my son and the triplets, so I raised millennials and X-gens all at the same time. They live in Copenhagen, the 3 of them, and they're married with children. They all have 2 kids apiece, so there's 6 grandchildren involved in this scenario.
Everybody's just as creative and business-oriented as you?
They've got a lot of great talent amongst the bunch of them, 12 of them, between the spouses, the kids, and all this. It's a nice big family. I went to Copenhagen from London, then from Copenhagen to Tucson, Arizona, where I switched husbands again, I guess. Not by force. Mr. Molgaard passed away. I was then recruited by Microsoft and went to Seattle.
Okay.
That's when I married the Italian in Seattle. He's from near Bologna.
Okay.
We actually divorced. And then he died a couple years later after that.
You've kind of covered the whole world and back around again.
I have items in my house that have gone around the world 1.5 times.
My gosh. You're now in South Florida. You're writing novels, screenplays. I know that you're the president of the WNBA, the Women's National Book Association, because I am an avid member. I love being a member of your chapter here in South Florida.
I also spent a lot of time in Los Angeles, obviously in Hollywood because of doing film. And it beckons. There's a lot going on there. Luckily, I've got a base there because my son lives there. He's a sound engineer on film, so he's in the business as well. He has actually done sound on 2 of my films. He has a cameo in one of them as well. I have to say that it's not all like he's into it. The thing you want to hear from your kids, Mom, I'm so happy that I'm involved in your passion project. But then I get these grunts because we're professionals together. He'll be complaining.
Yes.
I don't like this. What happened to I'm so honored to be part of. No,
Hey,
we don't hear that
as
at all.
long as you have good crafty, I'm sure that that sweetens the deal and
This
makes
is true.
everybody happier on
Oh,
set.
yeah. Not only that, he gives me a list of the crafty before every shoot.
I'm sure.
He can partake in the sense. Anyway, I have to be very grateful to him, and I have to be grateful to all my kids. To have millennials and X gens throughout your life has really kept me on my toes.
Have you written a memoir yet just about your offspring?
My first book is kind of a memoir, Matched in Heaven, which actually talks about the 3 dead guys, 3 in a row, right? That really hit me as something to write about. Last 3 partners were all dead. I thought, this is unusual. I think it's worth writing about.
Good for you. I'm sure that if you write about the next gen and then their next gen, it
Exactly, yeah.
could just give you enough material for a very long
Right,
time.
that what started me off was the family.
Yeah.
People need to look at their families first because there's stories within stories within stories, characters. People will say, "Oh, my family's boring." I said, "Absolutely not. At least one, if not a dozen, great stories there from the past." Especially if you're a history buff, to marry it
Yes.
together with the time, you're going to be so motivated to write about this. Listening to my grandparents' stories, they're all immigrants. The obstacles they had and where they came from, it was so colorful. I had a great photographic memory, and it was visual to me the way they told their stories. I have a grandfather who was Peruvian, and that was
Okay.
the first one that motivated me. He was a mestizo, half Indian, half Inca, and
Okay.
his stories were fascinating. That's the first one that said, "Oh, this is amazing." I had recorded him talking a little bit about his childhood in Peru in the mountains.
Does he speak Spanish, Quechua?
He was fluent in Quechua. He was a translator. He actually got a job translating from Spanish to Quechua. Then he was taught English. His story was amazing, raised by a corrupt priest. I wrote about that in my first book. My great grandfather on that side was exiled from Spain to Cuba because he was a
Okay.
domestic terrorist. The first thing I wrote was about how they all met. The Peruvian mestizo, they met in Florida actually, and my great grandfather from Barcelona that was exiled, domestic terrorist. That was the first short story that I got published
Oh my
about
gosh.
15 years.
It feels like that is
Yeah.
Florida. This beautiful mixing melting pot salad bowl. I love that you have stories that span from South America
Yes, all over
to
the place.
Europe, Asia, West Coast,
Yeah,
East Coast, different languages. So
exactly.
you're a storyteller.
Absolutely. I think I was born to be a storyteller. I felt the burden of all these people's stories. I thought they have to be told. I started
Yes.
out with that side of the family and eventually moved with Enrico G, which is about my Italian side from Abruzzo, the central Italy province near the Adriatic.
Yes.
That story was percolating for many, many years. I wrote the script first for the scene of the last third of the book. That won an award. It was a semifinalist at Austin Film Festival.
You mentioned that you have a photographic memory. When you hear, see, speak, write a story, do you first see it visually in pictures?
It happens simultaneously, but I'm also very dialogue driven because I was a playwright before anything else. My first love was playwriting. I did that first. So the dialogue and the visual and everything kind of come together at the same time.
It just makes sense that you, write for plays and write for the
Yeah,
big screen.
right. Exactly.
It all
Yeah.
comes together. Of everything that we just talked about, that you're a storyteller and so many different mediums of where your words are going to, what at the end of the day is your passion?
I think it is to get the stories down, be motivated to tell a story. Sometimes things will come to you from other angles. The Harid was Sajili was a script I wrote during COVID. It was in English. It was about dowry murder, and it was based on a real event. I was managing a team in India. I got a phone call saying that one of my employees was going to get arrested for dowry murder. I had no idea what it was. I'm Googling it while they're telling me the story, and I see it's a thing. It's going on in India and being reported of young brides that are being murdered or forced to suicide by their in-laws or their new
My gosh.
because they don't like the dowry. There's a dowry dispute. In the real story, the girl was just discovered dead mysteriously at 26 years old for no reason. The parents came and were going to arrest one of my team to get the dowry back. And in India, they're starting to enforce the law on this. It's happening at all levels of society, from the very rich to the very poor.
So sad.
It is. sad, but it was so absurd to me being an age to be just murdering for money without any reason. I thought I'm going to make a comedy out of this. So the script has a sex worker involved in this, and she and the bride take control. It has a happy ending in my film, but the real story did not have a happy ending. So people enjoy that. The film, it's 18 minutes long. It starts out a little dark. You don't know where it's going. The director is fabulous. His name is Prataya Saha. My co-producer is Angelika Kapoor, who lives in the U.S., plays a sex worker, and also my executive producer. They took it from a dark place to a funny place towards the end, hence that scene from Harry Met Sally. We've gotten a lot of awards for this film. Hopefully get some distribution. I'm grateful to them. They took it in hand. They were my collaborators in this, and I owe it to both of them, how they brought it to life.
Wow, congratulations for bringing something tragic that happened to your
Yeah,
team in
yeah,
India and
yeah,
making it
yeah.
funny and maybe
Well,
a bit of
yeah,
satire, maybe a bit of advocacy, and just letting the world know that this is a thing.
educated.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it and for its distribution. How many years have you been doing this thing, Angela, storytelling? I know you have been an executive in business. When did you start putting pen to paper?
My realization when I was in banking some years ago, I moonlighted at doing amateur theater groups. I finally realized start doing this a little more full time and taking it seriously. This is something I want to do. I took a break from corporate and went to Lee Strasberg studio in London to study acting and directing.
Oh,
Acting was the first thing I had to take a detour, but not for too long. In London, I founded my own theater group called the Crown Players at a pub. We produced some original material that I wrote. That's my first foray into writing. We also did some established plays, 19th century Victorian dramas, melodramas, and comedies. It was a lot of fun. But when we got married, we had to go back to Copenhagen, but I carried on. I found an English language theater group and just continued writing, performing, and directing. I started directing full time there. We would tour with English language festivals and things like that. However, I had to face a husband that was very ill, and I had a very young child. I had to go back to work.
oh
I had
my
a little bit of a
goodness.
hiatus. Somebody said to me, "You're very visual. You should do some screenwriting." That's when I went back to study that seriously for a year or two, and then started going to LA to pitch projects. It started from there.
Gosh, you've done it all. Entertainment from start to finish, on
Right.
stage, backstage, everything.
That's my thing. I have to entertain. That's my motto. Yes, must entertain.
Before we get too far into the entertainment, let's do some quick fire questions to hear Angela's favorite things. What's harder, writing a novel or producing a film?
Producing a film,
Coffee shop writing or quiet home writing?
quiet home writing.
You have the discipline. Love that. City that inspires you the most?
That is hard. I've lived in a lot of cities. I say cities are distracting. You need to be somewhere quiet.
One book every aspiring storyteller should read.
There is no one book. You've got to listen to people, take notes when you're outside, talk to your family. That is your education, more so than reading a book. Take from your own life also.
Love it. What is one risk that you're glad that you took?
Leaving corporate America and doing it
Nice.
full time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it
Good
was
for
risky.
you. The grass is greener where you water it, right? If you're putting all your energy and time into your writing, that's why you've had such a successful experience with it. By the way, you don't seem very risk averse. You seem like you take risks head on. No,
You get married. Nobody said, here's the cliff, jump over it. And I do it, right?
that makes for a good storyteller too. Favorite way to reset when you feel creatively stuck, if you've ever felt this way?
Yes, I'll tell you, it's swimming and having a massage or some treatment that you lay on a thing for an hour and have no other distractions, to me, solves all of your writing blocks.
I will take that advice in a heartbeat. Not that good of a swimmer, but the massage thing sounds really great.
45 minutes an hour. The problem is you can't be friends with your therapist because then you're just chit-chatting. I have one that's chatty and one that I doesn't talk at all, which is great. I come
Right.
out of there with an ending to something or a beginning of something or some issue resolved.
You go in with a problem and you come out with the solution in mind.
You'll have to ask your guides or whatever and say, what am I going to resolve today in my writing or my next project?
I love that. I'm going to try that. What's something people misunderstand about creative careers?
It's all about creating.
Yeah. What's one word that describes your younger self?
Ambitious.
What's one word that describes you now?
Ambitious.
Ambitious. Love it. That's one thing that you just are to your core. I could feel it from the second I met you. Very ambitious. Finish this sentence, and this is gratuitous for me. Wisdom for wannabes means.
It means pursuing your wannabe. Don't be afraid to reach
Love
at
it.
any age. Believe me, I
Yes.
reinvented myself way past 50 several times already.
Love it. Favorite quote for life or mantra if you have one.
Let it go and let it flow is what I tell people in a bad situation. I did that once for my staff and for people really stuck somewhere. Just let go.
I find it really hard to believe, based on that quote, that you've ever had any writer's block. You've figured out a way to be so prolific. You have so many books and so many short films and plays and scripts.
Oh, I do. It does happen. I mean, I've got another book based on the play that I wrote, a novelization of a play and a script. I was stuck about the ending for a week this last week. It came to me swimming actually the other day. There was nobody there. I was lucky. There was no chatter, but it took a week.
It took a week to get through. So a lot of people think that writing is isolating. You do need to be in a quiet room to get through a tough part, or you do need to be secluded to the countryside or wherever you are to actually write. Yet the storytelling that you're doing is from talking to people, taking notes, being social, understanding, having your own journeys and traveling. Is writing isolating, or is the process balanced in some
No,
way
it
for
is. I
you?
think you need to be with a writers group and have a critique group in your corner, or at least one or maybe two, which I do. That is a great support system, but don't take all of their opinions alone. You have to have beta readers of your writing outside of your writing groups because they're going to love you no matter what. They were instrumental in the last couple of books that I wrote. I read most of the book aloud to a writers group and they would critique. I couldn't do it alone. It's not a lonely process at all.
I love that. More about writing. You've lived so many different lives already: corporate executive, global business leader, novelist, filmmaker, producer, storyteller. Looking back, was there a moment when you realized creativity wasn't just something you loved, but something that you had to pursue as a career?
From the get-go, I knew that was there. So I wanted to do that first. I was thwarted due to financial reasons to go get a job. I was good at it, what I did, so I was then torn. Am I gonna keep doing this, do it on the side? I had a lot of colleagues at the time say to me, "You are so lucky to have this other passion," because a lot of people will leave their job that they've had for, years and don't have anything. I already had this burning thing happening. So when I changed careers, I didn't start from scratch.
So you started with playwriting, then went
Yes.
into business banking, global team management, and ultimately returned to writing, playwriting, screenwriting. Love
Yes.
it. Your background is such an interesting blend of business and art. Did you always feel that these two worlds could coexist?
I was global, and when I first started, you weren't available 24/7 by email and phone. As the technology took over, I'm now in my 50s going, "I can't take this anymore." The global travel, I'm being on an airplane for 20 hours, exhausting. If I had less responsibility, maybe I could have coexisted together and done them both at the same time, but I wasn't. I was managing hundreds of people globally. Nobody was asleep. The entire team was awake and
Oh
needing
my
things.
gosh. With all the different time
Yeah.
zones.
I was never good at establishing boundaries because I love people and I love my staff. So I was always available to them 24/7. You have a problem? Call me at midnight, 2 in the morning, right? But then the call I got about the dowry murder thing, that was about at 7 o'clock in the morning. Things like that emerged. There was always a drama somewhere in the world. My body said to me on one of the last trips to China, "You can't do this anymore. Your body is taking a toll with all this global travel. It's not going to happen. You're not going to be able to restore your energy."
I'm glad that you took
Yeah.
the cue from your body, because
Yeah.
sometimes it's just too much. Managing hundreds of people in China, India, Europe, and all over the world sounds very exciting.
But then you pay the price. I did not have any illusions of grandeur of raising beyond a certain level. I was quite happy to be at the level that I got, but I did not aspire to be a CFO. I was in finance, of course, to be anything bigger than that. Watching the others, that burden was going to be enormous. And I don't think I was CFO material. I was too married to dialogue and people and stories that I was becoming a higher level executive.
I think you're also very down to earth, and it sounds like very left brain, right brain
Yeah, right.
balanced, that
Yeah.
you could just do it all. The people management thing, the numbers thing, the forecasting things,
Yeah,
writing, storytelling, because
yeah,
storytelling helps a lot in business.
it certainly
Let's
does.
face it. So you've written stories across so many themes: immigration, family dynamics, identity, relationships, aging, reinvention. What themes keep calling you back as a storyteller?
It's interesting. Social cause, social justice themes, immigration. I did a couple. My play Legal Gringo, was also a script, which is becoming a novel. I did a film about immigration called Las Marias, which was really good. Then it came Harij Wed Sajili, social justice. Then this past year, I've been called on a project called Jane's Dust, which is about the asbestos scandal in makeup, the talc and makeup. This is based on a book by Dr. Ron Gordon from Mount Sinai. I have a co-writer on this that brought me on the project. We wrote a script, and now we're putting the project together on this courtroom drama. It's based on all these other cases that have happened and women that have gotten affected with mesothelioma from the makeup and the powder together. Scary.
I was not aware that there were women getting mesothelioma from their
Baby powder
makeup.
has been around for several decades.
Yes.
Ovarian cancer to link with baby powder. What nobody realizes, it's also in makeup. I have told everybody, look in your makeup drawer. If you see anything that says talc in it, consider throwing it away.
Thank you for that heads up. I appreciate that. The
Exactly.
more you know.
So Jane's Dust is another passion project of social justice. So it's odd that social justice became a thing.
The pen is mighty. I love that you're taking these really important causes and shedding a light on it. It sounds like the transition was from writing for stage, for book, and then to writing scripts. How did that process emerge? What comes first?
Tried it without any training. I realized early on that I needed to learn it properly. I did a year-long course learning how to write a script and then going to LA to market it. That was an amazing experience. In New York, I studied with an Emmy-winning showrunner of TV writing as well. We had a mock writer's room, and I sat there for 3 months, and we worked on TV sitcoms and drama. I didn't do it alone. I really studied hard and got to know it. I also would get my scripts coverage, as they call it, reviewed and critiqued to make sure that they were correctly formatted, and started submitting to festivals. Make sure that you know the craft. You have to learn the craft.
This is after you went to NYU Stern Business School, London School of Economics. You're studying under the gurus of writing for film and stage.
That's right. It's a collaborative process. I had to find a tribe to work with. My first couple of films, I found a tribe through schooling and other students. We got together and made my first film in New York. Then I found a tribe in LA, and I made 2 more short films. Through that, I used the same crew, and they become a tribe at the moment. The Indian collaboration was another tribe.
Love it.
I've been very lucky. Let's hope it continues.
Harij Wed Sajili is in Hindi.
Correct. It's English subtitle.
Your executive producer helped you with the translation.
Translation, and the director, Aya Saha, who's also won several awards, he helped shape this film enormously.
In my opinion, this is not your last Hindi film. That's my prediction.
There's a lot of chatter about turning it into a Bollywood type feature and adding a little
Yes.
music to it. We got some bites on that for sure.
Yeah, I could see a whole dance sequence at the end.
Dancing sex workers at the bar. Yeah, it's all there.
Exactly. It just has musical written all over it.
Love songs, right?
Exactly. So, did the corporate world teach you anything that helped your creative career later on, perhaps unexpectedly?
I think focus and discipline, as well as understanding the business side. I dealt with a lot of contracts in the banking world. It's all lending contracts. In the corporate world, you're doing contracts with vendors and other, alliances. The legal part of it was really critical. I knew that language, not be afraid to do a deal.
Your work often explores flawed, complicated people with a lot of empathy. Where does that compassion come from?
Because I'm a flawed, empathetic person. Yeah.
From
Yeah.
one to another.
I think dysfunctional families are a great boon to people. People want to lament and be absolutely like downtrodden about their dysfunctional family, but it's a fodder
Right.
for writing. Are you kidding? And characters.
I completely agree. There's so many stories there. As
That's
somebody
right.
who's written children's books about my own kids, it's just
Exactly.
endless stories. There's
It is.
so much
And
fodder.
everyday life. supermarket or on the street or an encounter, you got to write them down because you'll
You've
forget.
got to write them down. I have found myself in my notes app on my phone a lot this past year. The wheels turn differently once you start writing.
After I'm in the pool, right, and I'm resolving the end to my next novel, right, a guy comes in and he's jumping into the pool and he says, "I'm so glad you're here. I'm on my third pacemaker." Yeah, so I just did the math going, well, he thinks he's going to collapse and I'm the only one here. Just that one line. "I'm so glad you're here. It's my third pacemaker."
Gotta have the accent too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is living in Southeast Florida. That's a great line right there. Right?
It's so good. By the way, I hope you didn't have to save
No,
this
he was fine.
person.
I left. Somebody else came, said, "Then I'm leaving." They can be in charge of rescuing the guy out of the water.
You're going to pass the responsibility on to them. The guy with the third
Exactly.
pacemaker over there might need you.
Exactly. I mean,
That is a great
that line.
line.
Also, that's the subtext. That one
Exactly.
line has 100 stories. What
Totally
happened to
agree.
him with the other two pacemakers?
And if he's swimming,
Of a life and a diet, and the guy was on to have so much stress to have three
to
pacemakers.
have a third pacemaker. Yeah.
Exactly. You just see a lifetime, right, with one guy in the pool with one line, right?
You need to get that guy's name, by the way. He
I
probably
know
has a really interesting name.
introduce myself. I'm
Only in Florida, right? So speaking of a third or fourth pacemaker, reinvention. I think that's what he's
Right.
doing. He's reinventing himself with each
Exactly.
one, right? Reinvention seems to be a major thread in your work. What advice would you give to someone who's trying to reinvent themselves, perhaps later in life?
Right. Oh, no. You're not later in the life, Jackie. You need the next act and the third act and the fourth act, but you just got to follow what's in your heart. If it was something you thought of when you were very young, just try to do it. You'll find a path. So one thing will lead to the other. I was aware of film and I love film, but I never thought my thing was going to be novel writing, maybe some plays, but I never imagined I would end up making short films. The road will take you somewhere no matter what.
You've accomplished so much already. So many novels, so many film projects, so many awards.
Yeah, and don't I look exhausted?
You look amazing.
Look at that.
But what at the end of the day still excites or scares you?
Oh, I get scared all the time. That's something I'm gonna write and write, and nobody's gonna publish or shoot.
Why do we have that as creatives? Why do we have that fear of how our stuff is accepted or not?
You can't have any fear. It's not good. It shouldn't be part of our vocabulary.
I love the flow word, right? It's just got to flow.
Let it go, let it flow. Exactly. That's important. I actually wrote that on a whiteboard for the team.
Yes.
We were all getting laid off at one point from a big corporate company, and everybody was all freaked out. I just said, "Let it go, let it flow."
You can't do anything about it.
Here's your mantra, kids. Here's your mantra.
Exactly.
You go up with the mantra. They all got jobs. Everybody landed fine. It was great.
You can't worry about it. It's all
That's the
going to
thing,
work out.
Looking out, yeah. When you in a crisis, whether it's a death, a layoff, or some financial whatever, I believe in that law of attraction. Bring that energy into you. Fear shouldn't be part of the equation, which is hard, right?
It is very hard. It's very hard to think abundance when you're feeling lack. Yeah, if you can increase your own energy, it'll only attract good stuff to you.
No vibration. I know. I try to do it all the time. Music is good to raise your vibration for sure.
Agree. What would you say to someone who's looking to start their own writing journey? Is there a first step that anyone could take to start writing?
Yeah. Can I say a 4-letter word here? Give your permission to write. Just vomit out on the page. Don't worry about it. Keep going, because somewhere there'll be a kernel in there that you'll be able to use. People get hindered by the fact that they think they're not going to be good. Now people can do the voice activated writing.
Mhm.
That's another thing. If people don't like to handwrite, because who handwrites anymore? Just record yourself or record others. Record yourself saying anything. Recalling one story, one anecdote or something, and go from there. One of my books is called There's a Dead Girl in My Yard. That was before Enrico.
Based on a true story? I hope
Yes,
not.
it is. It actually is. One of the actresses from Sylvia, the film Sylvia, which was also a book, during a film festival where we won an award, she says to us in a Starbucks, "I'm so upset. There is a dead girl in my yard." I turned to her. I didn't even know what she was talking about. I said, "That is a something. It's a film. It's a book. It's a TV show. I don't know what it is, but it's something." Then she told me the story that she's living in Topanga Canyon outside of LA, and she sees an urn being buried in her guest house yard. It turned out to be somebody semi-famous in the health guru arena. She became the mourner manager. of people coming to honor this urn under an olive tree. We used her as the protagonist, a struggling middle-aged neurotic actress, emphasis on the neurotic, right? Was
Best character, most interesting.
that I didn't know what that was when we started writing it. Then I thought, is this a script? Is it a film? We wrote it as a novel. We finished it during COVID. We actually recorded audiobooks. Jackie, do you listen to audiobooks?
Do.
I will send you a link to an audiobook of Dead Girl
I would
because
love
I play the dead
with
girl
your voice too.
with my voice. I
Yes.
play the dead girl and she plays herself. It's very breezy. It's a great beach thing now to listen. It's light, airy, funny. It's a crime comedy.
It seems like you almost work backwards. Like you were on the finance side, but I think marketing is really where you would have shown in business. You have a knack for a great
I was a
headline and
salesperson. Yeah, I was. Yeah. I
yeah,
was good at collecting money because that's also like a sales thing, right?
that's the toughest part. You really have to be tough as nails to
It
do
was
the
really
money
bad
collection
in all the
part.
new technology. I left when it was getting critical, when you really needed to know your stuff. I always had people around me that would do my fancy graphs and reports. I said, because I can't do this.
You have the people skills. To hear there's a dead girl in my yard, one line, and made that an entire novel. I can't wait to hear about the guy with the third pacemaker and the pole.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good one. And Dead Girl is a pilot and also a limited series based on the book. So because of the title alone, people love it.
The title could pick up as a series really well. Shout outs to anyone who's helped you along the way.
My son and the triplets, they have helped me a lot to keep me
Yes.
fresh. This goes back 30, 40 years with children. They kept me involved. I was starting to age rapidly. My ways, my dress and all that, they kind of steered me to feel younger. They were very critical. Now, of course, with their kids, I'm tuned into their world too. I think that's big. Of course, my mentors for the screenwriting and TV writing, my ex-husband, Larry, we weren't a good marriage, but he was a mentor to me in writing for sure. My family, my sister, everybody's been very good.
It just sounds like you're surrounded by this amazing crew of people
And the dead
from,
ones too.
and the dead ones too.
Exactly. Husband, dead relatives, everybody is still helping me produce and create.
Sometimes telling those stories that your great grandfather or whoever went through back in the day brings you closer to them, whether they're here
It
or
was,
not.
even though I never met him, he stuck in my brain. I've been to the village and I've seen the house. I've seen, where all this took place. It was so inspiring of what he did as a 70-year-old, defending his home and his village against the Nazi occupiers and take matters into his own hands. This guy, it was quite a story. These people were fierce. He was a fierce guy that took risks. The risks that these people took in those years, in the middle of famines, wars, and depressions, it was amazing how they got through it. I'm in awe of how they managed to get where they did. This is the way for me to honor them and their journey.
Such a beautiful way to honor Enrico G.
Spring Cedars Press, who've been amazing. They're based in Colorado. Shout out to them. Without
Shout
them, this
out.
wouldn't have happened. Women's National Book Association. I've made so many contacts and learned so much in the last 8 years that I've been involved.
We've learned so much from you as members of the WMBA, and thank you for all that you have done. Angela, thank you so much for your
Thank you.
time. Thank you for your wise words, your inspiration, all these films and novel projects. Your writing is incredible. I hope that everybody goes out there and listens to There's a Dead Girl in My Yard and buys Enrico G and watches Harij Wed Sajili.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.